Huh.
Hey guys, it's Dane at Jonah Custom Guitars. I got another project in. It's been waiting for 3 or 4 weeks to get into the shop here. He wants it, not restored. He wants it repaired. And just anything that's going to go wrong with it, just kind of arrested so that it doesn't get any worse. He started doing a tuner replacement on it, and so he's got a couple sets of new tuners. I don't think the holes lined up with the screw holes exactly, or maybe even the tuners themselves didn't line up, but I'll have to take all that apart. I haven't really even had a chance to look at it much. His main complaint was that on the back of the guitar, in several places, it's just kind of popped out. The side has popped out from the back of the guitar. It doesn't appear to even be loose at this point, so it was probably just got hot and the thing moved. The weird thing is that it's, except for where it's actually away from the back, pushed out from the back, it's not like sunken in anywhere else that I can tell. So it's like the same size material is, this is actually loose right here, I'm just, now. Same size material is, it's not going to want to push in there because it's got to go somewhere else, right? Displacement thing, if you've ever tried this, think about your coffee cup with the plastic lid on it. And, you push it down one side and it pops up on the other. And that's kind of what this looks like is going to happen. So I'm not exactly sure. I thought about it since it's been sitting here for a few weeks, how I might approach it. And I think the idea is to build a frame, just a quick and dirty MDF, silhouette of the top of the guitar, and then a little bit oversized so that I can go ahead and loosen the back in between the weird bumps, and then put the frame around it and try to just shim everything back. So even if it's not perfect, it'll be even. It won't have a big lump just poking out. The other thing that I've just noticed on this guitar is that it's got a pretty good crack right down the center of it. And if you get your hand inside it, you can flex the top, the two halves. It's completely separated between the bridge and the sound hole, except for where this brace going through is holding it together. Now, I got to look this up yet. I haven't even gone online to see what year this might be, or how valuable an instrument it is. It's a GOYA. It's imported into New York by Hirschman, a musical instrument company, and is made in Gothenburg, Sweden. So I've got serial numbers and model numbers and all that. It's a G10. Obviously had some weather, or high heat issues. It's extremely checked, and there again, I don't know that you'll be able to see that across the top. The finish all over is checked really badly. Like I said, the top has a really severe crack in it right in front of the bridge. And then also the neck, the fretboard itself, classical type guitars, they're typically flat on the top of the fretboard. It starts to, somewhere in this area, it actually starts dishing. So you've got concave frets out over the top of the guitar. So, like that. Now, like I said, he's not planning on playing the thing. He just kind of wants to arrest any further, bad stuff happening. That's technical. Wants to keep it from getting any worse than it is. And so that's the plan. I tell you, this little intro to this wasn't supposed to be this long, because what I'm going to do is, before I can do anything out here, I have to clean this shop up. When I'm doing stuff, it just kind of gets scattered. So I have a lot of work to do just to clean the place up, and then I'll start working on the GOYA and for the fella that came into work. All right, thanks. So this is just the intro, session 1 on the GOYA classical guitar. Some interesting repair work, I think, with that back being bulged in places like it is. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back. Alright, so I got a piece of 1/2 inch MDF. Board, I always keep a chunk of that around. And just got a white China marker. I prefer felt pen Sharpie, but I don't want to take a chance on getting Sharpie on the edge of the guitar. Not that it's actually sitting flat down because of the bridge and the end of the fretboard. But so just I'll do a basic trace around here and cut that out, and then when I separate the back from the rest of, from the sides, then this will give me, what I'll do is I'll use appropriate padding, but I'll slide this has kind of a lock ring over the sides, so that I can take just wood shims and once, like I said, this is loose back here, one of these sides is loose, and then just try to push from the edge of the frame here, just drive a shim in there and push the body, the side back under the edge of the body, and seems like the most sensible way to do it. As I said, I've had this guitar in for a few weeks, just waiting to get to it, and so that kind of just popped in my head here. I'm going to reach across here and set this down. Just kind of popped in my head, and that's what seemed to make sense right now. If it works, that's great. If not, then I'll try something else. But seems like the least involved way of trying to figure out a way to get clamps across the body of a guitar isn't always the easiest thing to do. So anyway, we're at the table saw. I'll go ahead and cut this down to something a little more manageable. I can't find my tape measure. And I cleaned up. I reorganized, I should say. I got my shop back in order, but I didn't run across my tape measure in the process. So, a little eyeball. I have enough left over that if I brace against it, it's going to hold, so that looks pretty good. And I'm going to kick some noise on here. I got a dust collector. Back down when I'm done, as this whole area doubles as a workbench, so I don't want to be dragging things across the top or dragging my fingers over the blade accidentally. So, okay, it's basically the pattern. I may just do this. I don't know. I'll probably just, you know what? I think I will probably just bandsaw in through the butt or the neck end, and cut a little scarf angle there and get in there and bandsaw it out, and then just put a little cleat over the cut to hold it back together, rather than, I don't really care for jigsawing, although I have a nice one. I only say that because I've had some really bad ones that they don't cut straight up and down, so I finally got a decent one that cuts square. Anyway, I think I'll just use bandsaw. I'm not going to bother filming that. You guys know what a bandsaw looks like. Alright, I'll bring you back in a little later. So what I'm doing here, I think I've mentioned before, I made this this frame. It's a mold. It's quick and dirty MDF mold. This is the 57 GOYA Classical. It's upside down. I got the frame on it. I've got some pieces of padding stuck here and there just so it's not sliding around and possibly scratching the side of the guitar. I'm going to do a quick 0 and measure on the gap I have. I don't know how well you can see this, but there's a definite lip here where the back is coming loose. I'm going to put my blade in there. You can see it up and down quite a lot. I just so you know what the process has been, I put sandpaper into the gap here and move it around quite a, push it down on it, pull it out, that sort of thing, all the way along all the gaps. There's one here, there's one here, there's a small one right here, and then there's also a gap here. It's not pushed out from the back so much here, it's just separated. Got separation and a push out here, and then also have another pretty decent sized push out up here at the upper bout, and this is pushed out here as well. So I'm measuring how much this is past the back edge of the guitar here. This is not bound on the back. It's black binding, but this is just for an example. Another thing I was debating on was once I get the back glued, I'm not going to be able to get it perfectly flush with the original back. The back has shrunk, and even after humidifying, it hasn't come back. But I'd really like to do this. As a guy, I'm debating doing this for free, just as part of the overall cost of the repair, but not completely free, but kind of just throwing the binding part of it in. Really like to glue it all and then channel the back and bind it. The problem there, of course, is getting the binding scraped without taking very much of the original finish off and then having finish touch up, and that would be what would kill me on time, is touching up the finish. So I'm going to about the most extreme point of where that's pushed out at, and we're at 76 thousandths. That's past that. Now it looks worse than that, I gotta tell you, because 118, no, what am I thinking, 125 is an eighth, 250 is a quarter, so I'm at 75, so I'm at a 16th. It looks way worse than a 16th right there. So I'm going to push it in, devised a system with shims. There again, I'm not sure you can see it from this. I've actually filed flats into the circle so that the shims have a flat spot to write against. So I tried doing it with just the radius that was cut into the mold, but I cut flats in it and it worked a lot better. I've basically been able to wedge shims in here in 3 places and pretty much push this almost completely flush. So what I'm going to do now is, I don't want to get too far down. Oh well. I'm going to spritz this a little bit here and get some water. Just wicking into the crack here. I'm going to use Tide Pond, but the water will help it wick in, just like it would on CA glue, water thin super glue. CA glue and super glue, there are definitely different grades, but they are the same animal. They're both I don't know how you say it, cyanoacrylide, something like that. CA. I totally mispronounced that. But all the super glue, crazy glue, all that stuff, the difference is that the kind I use, which is a Tide Pond brand of super glue or CA, and also the stuff you buy from Luthier's Mercantile or Stumac. These are all just really high grade brands of that same item, basically. And I would never use super glue or crazy glue brand CAs on an instrument. And I'm not using them in this instance. I'm using regular Tide Pond because I want to make sure this I shouldn't say it like that. Super glue works, CA works really great for a whole lot of applications. I just shouldn't, you know, it would probably hold this fine. I'm just kind of wanting to go a little meatier with this. And I'm not even know. I think I'm just talking smack now. I don't even know. Yeah, decided to use the original Type Bond glue on this just because I think in this particular instance it'll be better. Yeah, it'll allow me to get the glue in the joint and not basically. I could have sort of clamped it all up and then put glue in the joint. And I just decided that I would rather glue it first. If I glued it first with CA, I would have a lot less time to mess with it. Could also use hot high glue, the same problem. I would have no time to mess with it. So I'm using the Type Bond because it's got a lot more open time. Now, so I don't know. I already mentioned I wax these shims so that as I put them in, I'll have they'll slide against the mold and against the guitar. And what I'm doing is once I position the first shim against the guitar, the one I'm trying to move is the one against the mold so that I don't scratch the guitar. And just puckering this thing, working the glue around. This is going to be really tough to wipe glue off of this once I have these shims in there. Okay, I think I keep kicking the camera. And so that was the shim you heard pop. Another shim, same shim. Pull this up a little bit. I hope that doesn't crack. Yeah, it's cracking down the edge of it for some reason. I think I used this different shim than the one I had there originally. I test ran this to make sure I was going to be able to do it. Actually, I think I put this over here. My grandkids outside, so don't be surprised that they come busting through the door here. I realize that by putting these shims in here, you're probably not going to be able to see the gap. I've got this set of shims right here is on the whitest spot, and in my trial clamp up here, I was able to get it all completely flush except for this very corner here, and that had to do with the fact I think that it was stuck here and just bubbled right there, and I'm just not really going to be able to bend that out. Really, I'm kind of surprised that it's moving as far as it is. Alright, I think that's about as far as it's going to go. And it is pretty flush all the way, except for right at this very corner right here sticking out. I'm just taking a piece of glue off of that right there. I'm going to go ahead and jam that one in there, although that's not tightening up where I need it. Alright, I'm going to put some clamps. A couple clamps. I got to grab a pad or two. Right here on the other side, and I'm going to clamp into that and just clamp this back down right there, and that'll be it. So that's all for now.